Well, good afternoon, everyone. And this is Dr. Caleb Chan, Dean of the Gain School of Business at Spring Arbor University. And welcome to the subject, Leadership Weapon Series. And our guest honor today is Amy Cosper, Editor-in-Chief of Entrepreneur Magazine. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We are very honored and privileged to have you in the presence, and I know that you have been very busy the last couple of days in traveling in Michigan and meeting with our students and also the business executives, leaders in the Toledo area. Yesterday I was in Jackson, and today we're very honored to have you as part of the Thomas Cobb Presidential Speaker Series. And I kind of took advantage of your visit and squeezed in this webinar series, and we are very happy.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Gain School of Business, once again, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And just for the benefit of our audience, if you have any questions that you want to ask of our guests, you can go to the top left-hand corner on the screen, and there's a Q&A button. You can click that and then type your question if there's any. And I've also put together some questions that we're going to be asking of our speaker, our guest. And I was at the luncheon just about an hour ago, and was very impressed. And how you share from the bottom of the heart the stories and your philosophy and the general approach in entrepreneurship and also leadership. So it's very timely and appropriate for us to invite you to be the part of the leadership series that we're trying to be offering to our constituencies. So first off, I'm going to ask you for this very, very tough question, Amy.
Going to hardball me right out of the gate.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to become the editor-in-chief for the Entrepreneur Magazine? I think about that job did not just fall into your lap, did it?
Well, it kind of did.
Maybe you can share the secret of how it happened.
It was a very fortuitous day for me. I started my career as a reporter and an editor and a writer because when I graduated from college, I had a liberal arts degree.
Liberal arts?
Yep, which I strongly recommend. I have no regrets. I learned a lot of skills by studying this course of thinking, and the most important thing I learned how to do, first of all, is critical thinking, and the second skill, which was a little bit more marketable, was writing. And so I got into writing, and I got into reporting, and I started working as a technology reporter, and kind of worked my way into different industries and worked my way up the chain, because what I learned is that while I like writing and I like reporting, maybe my greatest gift is the ability to strategize and choreograph, and editors choreograph and come up with ways to tell stories. And I think I was better at that than I was at the actual reporting. So I ran a group of magazines in Denver at Wiesner Publishing, a bunch of financial magazines. And a headhunter called and said, Entrepreneur Magazine is looking for an editor-in-chief. And I was like, wow, I know that magazine. So I went out and met with them, and I can tell you of all of my experience in publishing and in media and writing and reporting, being a part of something as exciting as entrepreneurship has really shaped my view of the world. And I mean, think about it. I get to hang out with all the cool people that were at the speech this morning, like the entrepreneurs who are changing the world. Are a very special breed, and that I get to hang out with them and talk to them and absorb even a little bit of their energy, to me has been life-altering, and I feel very, very fortunate.
Sure. Well, since you touched on liberal arts, let me assure that the check is in the mail. Well, Spring Arbor University is a comprehensive university that focuses on the study and application of liberal arts. So we are a big believer in the liberal arts, and that would liberate our students And in our core curriculum, but we do have students taking about 53 hours of liberal arts,
That's
which
great.
amount to about 45% of the curriculum. Well, you mentioned that you have the cool opportunities of meeting with a lot of entrepreneurs, and is there one that you would consider your favorite?
I mean, that's like asking me Sophie's choice. You know, I love all of the entrepreneurs we write about, and I love like every person's story we've told has touched me in a different way, and it's touched our readers in a different way. And I love ideas too, but it's the people behind the ideas that really propel things forward. And I think one of the most disruptive ideas I've covered in the magazine, or we've covered in the magazine, is really like Uber. Uber to me has disrupted an industry that was begging for disruption 20 years ago.
Breaking all the rules.
Yeah, I mean, you push a button on your phone, a car shows up, and there's no financial transaction that takes place. So as far as like ideation goes, that's really one of my favorites. You know, over the last couple of years. But I can't pick one entrepreneur over another. They're all cool in their own right, and they've all got great lessons to teach.
Sure. Well, at luncheon, during your presentation, you kind of summarized the lessons from entrepreneurs in their 6 different lessons. Can you just share with us a little bit?
Yes. I don't have it in front of me, but I'll make it up. No way. Let me wing it. Let's see how many I get. Okay, so
I'll check off the list as you go.
Okay. Are you my fact checker now? The most important lesson, and it's always number one, is have a clarity of vision. Have your idea in such a simple form that you can state it in 3 sentences or less. The clarity of vision is what separates, very successful entrepreneurs from less successful entrepreneurs. Crowdfunding, take advantage of crowdfunding platforms, not only as a way to access capital in a non-traditional way, but also take advantage of crowdfunding and all kinds of social platforms to get free. That's right, free market intelligence. I mean, you can learn a lot about your idea by putting it out there and getting the feedback from the community.
So there's such a thing as free.
Free launch. I mean, think about it.
Freebies.
There's so much free out there right now. I mean, you can now develop an entire business plan or an entire marketing strategy for free with Twitter and with Instagram and Facebook and, Kickstarter. And I mean, it's really historic what the opportunities are right now for, creating a business and, using these free platforms to drive it.
Well, very good. And well, let's switch gear to talk about the passion, courage, ideas, and the fourth one is willingness to accept criticism. And all of which are very important aspects in the entrepreneurial successes.
Right.
Now, the tough question is how would you rank them? Are some of these more important than others, or are they equally important? You can go either direction, but tell us why.
I mean, I think that they are ranked differently. I really do think so. And I think that the thing that ranks first is going to be courage, because it takes a lot of courage to make the decision to be an entrepreneur or to disrupt an industry or a known way of thinking. That is bold and that is brave, and it is definitely not the path of least resistance. And I think after that, like what will drive your idea forward is going to be passion. I mean, if you don't have passion, if you're emotionless and you're just doing this for money, it's not going to succeed. But if you've got heart and soul and passion, I think that would rank right after courage. And willingness to fail, was that in there?
Willingness to accept criticism.
Well, willingness to accept criticism would be definitely next. I mean, you have to. If you don't have thick skin, you should maybe not be an entrepreneur. Maybe be like banker.
Or professor.
Or professor.
Even worse. Very good. And I wasn't expecting that you would be ranking sometimes I just put out questions there as a springboard for the speaker, the guest, to elaborate on the importance of each one. But I like your answer, and courage is very important, and it's not something
don't you think
can be taught.
It takes courage. Like you have to have that fire in your belly, and you have to have a fearlessness to execute, and it has to be, that the courage is what's going to allow you to wake up at night and jot things down. And if you don't have that, that is a critical thing.
Yeah, you just touched on a key word too, being the fearlessness, which is very important for the entrepreneurial successes. Can you build on that a little bit? And a lot of people are thinking about, I want to be my own boss, but when they encounter some obstacles, they turn around, run away.
Right. I mean, I think that the important thing is to remember that fearlessness should never, ever be confused with recklessness. And you know what? A little bit of stage fright in business, or a little bit of stage fright, before anything in life is okay. It doesn't mean you're a coward. It just means that you're being realistic and you're being true to yourself. But, don't be reckless. Don't just go out there and, have cash burn and, crash and burn. You have to be smart, and a little bit of fear is okay, but a lot of bit of fear is going to be an obstacle, and it's going to cause you to, it's going to be an obstacle, and you're going to trip over it.
Well, I guess something that, it ties very well with the failure too. If I remember one of the slides that you used, failure is just another word for learning.
Yes.
Where did you get this one?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Failure, like we were talking about today and last night, and really for the whole time I've been in Michigan, failure is something that you encounter in life. It is not just related to business. It's related to relationships. It's related to academic. Like everybody fails. You can't control that. Like you're going to fail. But what you can control is what you do with that lesson. And, the failures I've had in my life, I've really... And I haven't always been good at this because I'm an incredibly ambitious person, but you really have to let them teach you and sort of lead you on this path. And even the whole Silicon Valley failure thing, like in Silicon Valley, if you don't fail once, you're not taken seriously, and it's a badge. It's a badge of honor to have failed, and they actually have a whole entire conference built around failure, which is really wacky to me, but it's a real thing. And I think that one of the things that we can take out of Silicon Valley is that shared failures can serve as a very good platform for education and for preventing people from making the same mistakes.
Now, Amy, do you mind if we get a little bit personal?
How personal?
Like can you share with us your biggest failure, and what you learned from that, and how you also leverage your failure for future success?
Well, I mean, I failed a lot. I failed a lot. I have made, egregious mistakes as a leader. And I remember when I started at Entrepreneur Magazine, it was about 7 years ago. I was going into this job. I moved from Denver to Orange County, California. I was a single mother. I had 2 very young children. And, I have a tendency to be a little bit too optimistic. And I thought I would be able to step into this role and everybody would want to follow me. Everybody would want to be a part of something special and magic and, change. Like the whole position was about changing the editorial approach and changing the structure of the editorial, and I was really excited about it. And I really thought I would step into the bullpen, the editorial department, and people would be like, "Yay, change!" I could not have been more wrong. I walked into the department, and not only did they not want to change, they wanted everything the same. Most of them had been there for 25 years, had very little exposure to other types of media, but they hated me. They hated me from the moment I stepped into that department. And
it was a big failure, Amy.
Well, I feel like I failed as a leader. I was a little bit naive and a little bit too moony about what could be. And I'm not sure that I led those people as well as I could have. And I would consider that, a failure of sorts.
Now, kind of fast forwarding 6-7 years, and do you still have the same people
No.
on the team?
No, there's not a same. No, there's one person left from that original group.
Okay.
So
Now the bright side of that is that you get to choose who will be sitting on the bus and using the Jim Cow's line.
Yep.
And can you share with us a little bit on your strategy and when you get to choose who will be sitting on your bus, what qualities are you looking for?
Creativity is one thing, and the other thing is an approach to content and storytelling that is different than normal business media. Like we really are, we consider ourselves storytellers, and more
than just reporting, but
reporting,
story,
profiling people's stories, and stories of inspiration and stories of failure. But also, I really like people who are brave and who are bold and who can think like our readers think. Like we want to behave as an entrepreneurial editorial department. Like that is very much a part of our philosophy. Like we don't want to be the bullpen of the New York Times. I mean, we went from 40 some odd editors down to a staff of 6.
Wow.
And so that makes us have to be very fleet of foot and very entrepreneurial in our thinking. We're 100% virtual staff, so we have to learn how to use technology. And so we really can't get into the heads of our readers. And people who cannot change the way they've always done business in the editorial department will not last on my staff.
Sure. Well, going from the 40 plus to the 6 people on the team, I think what is not because of budget cut. Sometimes we have no choice, but other times as entrepreneurs, you just need to be being proactive. You need to be thinking outside the box. If we have a 40 plus staff, you ask the question, is it necessary?
Right, it's a business. Like I run this department as a business, and to have that many editors generating, the very low number of pages they were generating did not make good business sense to me. And so it was very old school. It felt very kind of union-y and not innovative, not creative, fearful of change. And that really had to shift to capture the spirit of the entrepreneur.
And what I'm seeing is you're practicing the disruption right there, right then. And can you tell us a little bit more on the notion of disruption or disruptive innovation? I know that there's been a lot of talking about that, research on that, and when it comes to entrepreneurship, how important is it?
Disruptive innovation?
Disruptive innovation, and in an age of technological and also the global world.
I mean, it's critical to be able to think in a disruptive manner, and I'm not talking about just starting a business, this year or next year. It's a matter of disrupting known ways of thinking and creating a whole different path, like Uber did. And like a lot of, we work a lot with scientists and researchers and pharmaceutical people, because even though they're not traditionally considered entrepreneurs, there are many of them who are entrepreneurial thinking and are creating and laying the foundation for future entrepreneurs in more scientific fields. I mean, it's very, very important to look not only at people who are, starting app companies and people who are starting sustainable energy companies, but also the people who are creating disruption in their fields and their disciplines. And so they are not left out of our coverage.
Sure. Can we take it deeper? And Spring Arbor is in the business of educating minds and also the heart of our students. How do you apply for the disruptive innovation in the higher education institution arena?
I mean, I think it's just a way of embracing in the world of academics, like the academics and learning institutions can be like the biggest, thickest bureaucracies, and they can make the government look, speedy.
Yeah.
And I think that just, especially at Spring Arbor, I've seen this, like just an ability to embrace new ways of thinking and new ways of not only doing business, but of educating. I mean, the fact that you guys are bringing entrepreneurship onto your campus in an area of the country that is, been hard hit by economic despair, it says a lot about the leadership of this institution.
Sure. Well, thank you, Amy. And maybe a little bit background too, that actually the Game School Business, but the houses did the Cosper Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and is thanks to the generous gifts of Mr. and Mrs. Hosmer, and that they helped found the center, and they believe in the business school. But my next question is what do you believe that what the entrepreneurship and innovation can be taught? And I think I know your answer, but the second question is what if so, at what age should we start teaching entrepreneurship and innovation?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this battle every year, and it's a question that comes up, wherever I'm speaking. Are entrepreneurs born or are they made? And I mean, I know I'm sitting here in a school that is about to introduce an entrepreneurship program, but I believe, like in my experience, entrepreneurs, like the Branson kinds of entrepreneurs, are absolutely born. I think it's a DNA thing. Having said that, though, musicians, great prodigy musicians are born, but you can also learn to be a great musician. So I don't think there's any harm in, it's not like somebody's going to be damaged by learning about entrepreneurship. So, if that's your your vision of what you want to do with your life and your destiny, you should absolutely. I mean, it's just like studying anything. You can become better at it, and even if it's not a natural born gift.
Sure. Well, traditionally, what is the business schools that would be the embracing entrepreneurial education. Well, do you see that what the trend being changed in the future? Like, might be the science departments, the music areas would be embracing entrepreneurship the same way that the business schools have been doing it for the last maybe 2-3 decades.
Yes, and that is happening right now. I mean, there are some major University of Colorado, my alma mater. They entrepreneurship is not just a discipline in the business school. It is a multidisciplinary topic, and they teach it in the music school, they teach it in the science school, they teach it in chemistry, which is a weird pairing. In the arts, in the creative industries, it is very, very important. I mean, it carries across multiple topics and multiple lines of study.
Sure. My next question is, how do you then encourage the non-business departments to collaborate so as to foster the idea of entrepreneurship is for everyone. Whether you're going to be an entrepreneur, running a business, start a business or not, everybody needs a little bit of entrepreneurship in the training. And
it's not just the entrepreneurship, it's the ability to think like an entrepreneur and an ability to, innovate. Whatever your field is, you can certainly be a participant in the innovation and the reinvention and the evolution of your field or your passion. And a lot of that comes from just, thinking like an entrepreneur, zigging when everybody else is zagging, and seeing things that other people don't see. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let me dig deeper a little bit too. Not only are you the editor-in-chief for the Entrepreneur magazine, which means you believe in the entrepreneurship, you practice entrepreneurship, you encourage your staff yourself to be the entrepreneurial in your thinking. I also believe that every effective leader and entrepreneur have some habits and routines to help them keep the innovative juice going. And I've heard of someone saying, well, you need to have 10 ideas daily. And if you keep doing that, you come to a time that it just comes naturally. Can you comment on that? Both the habits and routines and the notion that as an entrepreneur, you need to almost force yourself to come up with ideas constantly, make it part of you.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the habits?
Both the habits and routines, and then the second part is maybe one of the habits is to force yourself to come up with ideas, mm-hmm. whether they're good ones or bad ones, it doesn't matter. Make sure you have some ideas.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different answers to that question, and it's a complex question with a lot of parts to it. But the habits that we write about, and that I actually personally practice, when I'm trying to, when I'm staring at a blank Word document waiting for words to come out. I mean, I'm very big on quieting the mind and meditation, and these are very tactical things, by the way. They're not floaty business school things, but so a lot of just quieting the mind, doing something that quiets your mind every first thing in the morning. Like, don't roll out of bed and check your email. It's counterproductive. It is absolutely You think you're being, living the entrepreneurial life, but if you give yourself a little bit of time in the morning to clear your mind, work out, meditate, do whatever you do that gives you a clear brain, which, by the way, I do not have right now. It will make your day a lot more productive. Like, if you're sitting there and you're like trying to force ideas out, like that's not going to work. What are the other parts of that? Well,
I think you address the question. The other part is kind of forcing yourself as part of your routine, come up with, say, 5 to 10 ideas daily, and having thick skin and run those ideas, bounce them off, and what do you think about this idea? It's comes down very bad. Right. But this one, I think there's some meat in it.
Yeah, and I mean, there are other things you can do. Like the thing I do, this is not scientific. This is just something that helps me because I'm old school. But when I have a thought or I have ideas, I write them down with a pen in a notebook, and it becomes this very special compendium of largely stupid ideas. But at least I've got a place where it's like just me and a piece of paper, not me and a computer screen. It's just like where my brain can be creative. And the other thing, you should do to jiggle ideas loose is read everything, not just like little tiny pithy internet webified content. Read magazines. I mean, I have to get that in there. Read books, and just never stop learning is critical. And ideas will just, they'll germinate.
Let's go back to the notion of sharing ideas. Some people believe that, you are an entrepreneur, but you better keep your idea to yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, someone can steal the idea. What are the flaws of this belief?
Well, first of all, it's very short-sighted. I mean, I had a guy come pitch me. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He wanted to pitch me his idea, and he wanted to get feedback on it. But he said, you're going to have to sign this NDA. I'm like, I'm not signing an NDA for free mentoring and advice, and he just never presented it. And I mean, I think it's okay to be proud of your idea, but it is so critical, especially right now, to get feedback and access. Create a board of advisors or mentors or whatever you want to call them, and share your idea. Don't just show it to your mom and dad because they are biased. I mean, I really don't. I don't think carrying an idea around and just like hiding it from the world is going to get you anywhere. Plus, that your mind is not in the right space.
Good. How are we doing on time? You doing well? Okay. And how are you doing then, Amy?
I got a little scratch in my throat, but I'm doing great.
Okay. Well, maybe we can go on for maybe 10 minutes.
Sure, that sounds fine.
One of the courses that we teach here is social entrepreneurship, and I would think you are a big believer of that too. Having heard you share at the luncheon, and can you give us an example of social entrepreneurship in action that you have seen, which exemplifies what both the social part and the entrepreneurship, and that through entrepreneurship we can make a difference in society. And can you name one or two examples?
Oh my gosh, there's a million examples out there. And when you're working on your business plan or your idea, the social aspect is becoming increasingly important to VCs and investors. Like the ability and willingness to give back says a lot about not only your position in the marketplace, but your essence as a leader. Leaders who give back are people who care about their communities, and it's a very community-focused VC market right now. So it is something that should never ever be overlooked. And especially in this country, social entrepreneurialism is a very big deal. And I can give you an example of this woman who, her name is Renata Black. She's based out of New York, and she is a fashion designer. And she went to India and was so moved by the plight of women and the plight of women's roles in that country. She came back and designed a line of lingerie dedicated to Indian women, and she gives 20% of her profits back to an organization for the education and betterment of Indian women's lives. And it's a very beautiful story. She's spoken at the UN, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of her company, but it's very touching what she's done, and she's sort of started this groundswell in the fashion industry about giving back.
Wow, that's excellent. And in fact, our students from the business school who took that course, they visited an organization called the Key Opportunities in Houston, just 2 days ago. And what we want to see happen is what the students don't just take the course and be filled with knowledge, but what's the next steps, and how it's going to impact you. And we don't have a formal program per se for entrepreneurship, but we have a series of courses that students can take to fulfill a concentration. And actually, we are seeing that more students from outside disciplines who are taking these courses. So that we are hopeful that one day students would be catching on. While business entrepreneurship is not just for business majors,
right?
And it's for art majors, music majors, ministry majors, and you can bring the two together, having a business mind, but also having a heart for making changes. Right,
and another very interesting kind of sub-industry niche is the microfinancing, and a lot of organizations have set up microfinancing to take into developing economies and really impact, not only go in and build houses, but help create a vibrant economy. And the Adelante Foundation, which is a Spanish organization, they have had great success with their microfunding in Honduras. And it's almost 100% financing of female businesses, and it has really impacted change in their lives and their economy.
That's true. Well, let's shift gear a little bit to the magazine itself. I'm going to read something that I picked up. And Entrepreneur magazine is about laying the foundation for the future, disrupting known thought, and going forth to creating lasting change. Since you took over as the editor-in-chief 6 years ago, said what have been some of the biggest accomplishments of the magazine with regard to this vision? Are you seeing this being more fulfilled, or you're continually shaping the vision of the organization?
It's a process. I mean, it never ends, and it shouldn't ever end. And I think one of the biggest accomplishments we have made as a team, it's not just me, it's a bunch of really smart people, is that we have sort of broadened the definition of what an entrepreneur is. We have changed the perception of an entrepreneur is somebody who owns a small business. Sure. An entrepreneur is somebody who has a donut shop. When really, an entrepreneur is anyone who is creating opportunity for future generations, and is very much a part of the fabric our culture and our economy and our business.
What do you see where do you see what the magazine is going to be in 10 years?
What? That's far.
Next week.
I mean, hopefully we will still, we will still be serving our readers, and the goal of our magazine and our editorial and kind of like the guidepost that we use is that we have the ability to impact not only somebody's day, but somebody's business and somebody's life. We want to, be the spark that creates an idea or gives somebody the courage to go forward in the marketplace. And it's very, very powerful. And, I want to keep that mission in place. We are here to serve a certain set of readers and to serve our country with entrepreneurs. And, I'm very proud that we can still, people still pick up the magazine and read it. They still like the physical presence of a magazine.
Wow, that's sweet. At lunch, you were sharing a story about I think you were in 5th grade or something, that your teacher was asking, go back and ask your parents what they do. What did they do? And you asked your mother and about your grandpa. And he was an entrepreneur, but you had a hard time putting in a picture. And I remember when I first was introduced to the term entrepreneurship, it was back in the high school when I took economics. It was back in Hong Kong, and the definition, loose definitions, was the ability to put all of the other factors of production together, being the land, raw materials, capital, and labor. And that's the end of the definition, because is risk-taking. And but the purpose of doing that is to create a profit. And over the years, it's 4 decades. I'm giving away my age. And I have seen almost like an evolution of that definition to include something bigger. And can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you are in the world, how the word entrepreneur is defined. And, for us here in the States, it's really, it's so ingrained in us. And, we're such, we're independent, pioneering spirits who, want to be great. That's just how it is. And, being an entrepreneur is not just about, a production line and assembly and all of that. It's a much larger philosophy of business and life, and how you choose to live the life. In Copenhagen, I know you heard me talk about Lasse Anderson. In a lot of the Scandinavian countries, the word entrepreneur, there's a huge tech industry bubbling up in Croatia, and these kids want to be entrepreneurs. Like, the whole idea is kind of catching on with the younger generation. And the older school thinkers, like the parents and the grandparents, think this is a nightmare. Like, this is their worst nightmare. And they consider entrepreneurs to be like mafia. Like, it is not the same meaning as we have over here. So it's going to take a little longer for the word to evolve to have as much meaning as those economies are evolving.
But to you, the biggest the contribution of entrepreneurs is, I guess, the ability to create something out of nothing. And I think that's the beauty part of being an entrepreneur. You're a co-creator. Yeah,
it's a powerful journey, and there's potholes along the way, but at the end of it, it's a very meaningful path.
Yeah. I have a different sort of question that Fast Company magazine ranked you as one of the 25 smartest women on Twitter. How do you manage to be so good in the social media? And what are you going to do to keep up with this title?
I don't. In all honesty, I don't know that I am keeping up with it right now, because we've been in this redesign. But the most important thing to me, like, social media, to me, is one of the most powerful tools we have come across in this generation. I mean, look at it's not just in business. It's not in magazine publishing. It's in politics. I mean, the overthrow of the Egyptian government was in part driven by a social media campaign on Twitter. And then there's like an ugly side, like the ISIS side, bringing these horrible thoughts But it is, it is the ability to connect and communicate with your audience, not only like in magazine publishing, but as a business owner. Like you can have one-on-one discussions with your customers, get their feedback. You've got, dynamic customer service. You've got, damage control that you can do. To me, it's one of the more powerful tools, to emerge in business. And I was a late adopter to Twitter. I wasn't like, right there on the front lines. I was like, this is stupid, this is dumb. But then I got into it, and the power of it is, it's overwhelming.
So late comers, but we have hope. I want to wrap up with this final question, and that you started early the value of the liberal arts education, and if I remember the background is the art history, Italian, and also philosophy, which very much annoyed your parents.
Yeah.
But you're able to leverage all of your liberal arts training to be doing what you're doing today. And can you give us maybe some encouraging words to especially students? Sometimes they would feel that I have to take these liberal arts courses, can we put a positive spin on, you don't just go to college and get this paper, but you get to become a critical thinker. You're solving problems, and these are all the things that the employers are looking for, and especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you cannot go without all of these skills.
Yeah, I think that, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, and, I was very fortunate in my education because I did get to focus on liberal arts, but your degree and your course of study absolutely does not define you. It does not define you. You define you in the marketplace. You can study art history and Italian and still become a magazine editor. And I know plenty of, kids who studied physics and chemistry, and they're now, writing for me. It's all a matter of, of how you execute your skills, and it is critical thinking. And, but I am a big proponent of study what you love, and the rest will come.
Sure. Great. Well, Amy, you have been very generous
Thank
for
you.
your time.
So have you.
And we want to just we want to honor your time, and we know that you have a couple of other commitments coming up, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And especially travel back to the Colorado.
Thank you. Yes.
Today?
Colorado. Tonight.
Tonight.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone who's in the audience, and we are going to be making this recording available to the YouTube SEU channel. And we'll send a link to all those who registered. And with that, we want to thank you again, and we want to thank Amy again.
Thank you.
And we want to make an announcement about the next webinar series through our usual channel. I'm going to use social media next time.